Hello everybody, my name's Kikyo. Or is it? And in this one we're going to be doing a little thing that you'd probably see on Great Blue. Essentially, I earlier this week had this hypothetical. What if all of the primaries of Soldier were turned into one rocket launcher? And I thought that could be an interesting video, especially because the video that I meant to make this week had technical difficulties, so I actually have to make it later, and I don't actually know when it's going to be made again. I want to tell you guys what the video is, but technical difficulties and stuff, and I can't. Okay? I can't. But how this is going to work is I'm going to take all of the written stats, for example, minus 25% clip size, and we're going to be adding that on top of the weapon. So that means if, let's say, 3 of Spy's revolvers, say minus 25 clip size, well, minus 25% clip size, then they will have minus 75% clip size on that revolver. You'll probably pick it up as we go. I have my handy dandy notes. So, Scout. Scout's primary has the hype meter, it has the babyface blaster speed up, and it has the force of nature's backup. As well as it has minus 40% pellets, 90% plus 90% damage per pellet. I'm saying this right now. If a weapon has pellets, for example, a shotgun or the scattergun, then the extra damage percentile is per bullets. I didn't actually do the math to see how much extra DPS it actually has. 142% faster attack speed, which sounds really nice. 20% extra bullet spread, not that great. Minus 10% move speed, 25% reload speed. No random crits. And then something that I thought would be a reoccurring issue, the detriment. Some are very well known that how Valve tries to balance the Scout is by lowering its clip size. So, how much is it? Well, my dear viewers, Scout's clip size is minus 233%, essentially meaning that he is negative 133% of his clip, which is abysmal because I actually saw 3 ways how this could be split. Or like, how we can do a loophole. 1, no clip. Like, can't even shoot because you can't put bullets in the clip. 2, there is no clip, which means you're taking straight from the ammo pool and never have to reload. Or 3, according to a person who knows TF2 a lot better than me, it is hard-coded that there is at least 1 ammo in the clip, so maybe it's like that. Now for the secondary, you have Bonk Atomic Punch, Criticola, Mad Milk, and no random crits. Now some might be like, wait, but that's also a pistol, so how are you going to split it? My idea was maybe, there was a drink, like taped onto the gun, and if Scout drank it, it would have the effects of Bonk and Criticola, which I'm pretty sure is just Bonk. Or he could throw the drink, giving a Mad Milk effect. Now, with his pistol side, it has 15% extra damage, 25% extra jump height, and 15% attack speed buff. So what's the detriment here? 85% smaller clip. And I did the math. Well, this is one of the few things that I actually did the math for. That means that Scout has 1.8 bullets in his pistol. Or, rounding that up, 2 bullets in his clip. So that 15% extra attack speed, it's just gonna make him... Ooh. Then there's melee. It has the candy cane dropping a a small health pack, like whenever you kill an enemy, which helps with any of them. You get the ball of the Sandman and the Rap Assassin, essentially meaning that if you hit the ball, it causes a bleed effect and slows down the enemy. And you also can make yourself bleed if you don't hit anything with the Boston Basher. You have a 25% fire resistance, and the rest goes downhill. You have a 25% explosion and a vulnerability, minus 15 HP, minus 180% damage, or minus 195% against players, and a 50% quicker deploy speed. Yeah, the melee is just not that great. Let's move on to the Soldier. Soldier can mini-crit enemies that are airborne, gains 20 HP on hit, no random crits, can't pick up the intelligence, 20% less damage to buildings, crits turn into mini-crits, second, alt fire charges up a massive ball, he can cause beggar spam, the beggar's bazooka rocket spam, and all of his rockets have a 3-degree deviation. Now for the more statistic side of things. 120% rocket speed, 4 rockets can be added to your clip depending if you can get 4 kills. Infinite ammo, and you take 45% less damage while from rocket jumping. But there is a but. You have negative 15% damage. I say negative, not minus. Negative, which means soldiers' rockets deal no damage, which would be fine. You just rocket jump, right? Except you have a 0 splash radius. There is no splash radius. What does that mean? This rocket launcher sucks. It is only direct hit, and it does no damage. Insane. The secondary, meanwhile, it has the activated ability of the buff banner, the battalion's backup, and the Conjurer, so that means activating one of them activates all of them, which I think is insane. You have the gunboats and the man-treads. You can mini-crit airborne targets. You can pierce through enemies. You can activate the base jumper, and the more you shoot it, the less accurate it gets. You have extra 20 HP. You have a 4 HP regen. You have a 70% quicker switch to speed and a 65% quicker switch from speed. You have a 50% more pellets, infinite ammo. Your clip is 67% smaller, and your damage 20% less or 40% less to buildings. Now for the melee. The less HP you have, the faster and the more damage you deal. You have an extra plus 1 capture speed, no random crits. You have the honor bound mechanic of the half Satoichi. Hitting an ally will give them speed, and you crit while rocket jumping, except you can't rocket jump. You have a 25% less damage. You get no healing from medics. You have a 10% bullet vulnerability. You have 120% extra range. You have a 75% slower deploy speed, and you have a 20% attack speed debuff. Not great. I think Soldier just straight up turned into a support with the 3 banners that he has. Now, for the Pyro. So, Afterburn causes Medic to heal 80% less to the target, as well as resists to be 80% less effective. What? It crits from behind. No, random crits. You have Oomph and Pyro Land. You cannot Air Blast. And it is a single projectile. But you get 300% extra damage against burning enemies. You heal 100 HP while extinguishing, which... That's actually a question that I have. If a different weapon of the Pyros extinguishes an ally, does he get the same healing that he would from the flamethrower, or is it separate? If so, then he doesn't get this 100 HP extinguish healing. If he did have Air Blast, it would be 175% more expensive. He has a 60% quicker switch to speed, a 30% quicker switch from speed, and his Afterburn does 66% less damage. So the rocket launcher straight up just... not rocket launcher, flamethrower, sorry, is not that great. I mean, sure, it's actually decent, but I feel like it's more like... I feel like it fits in the role of secondary a bit more. But let's look at the actual secondary. It ignites on hit. It reloads when inactive. It can shoot people in the water. It can detonate midair. Mini crit on airborne targets, and no extra damage on burning enemies. Does this also mean that the primary flamethrower cannot do that 300% extra damage against burning enemies? Or is that only for the secondary? His ult extinguishes and gives 1 crit with a max of 35. And theoretically, 100 HP from the flamethrower. Or here, 20 HP for the secondary. No random crits. Attacks knockback enemies. You knock them back on ignition. You have the you can activate the thermal thruster and the gas passer. And let's look at it more statistically. You have a 50% explosion vulnerability. You deal 80% less damage. You have a 70% quicker switch to speed and a 65% quicker switch from speed. 34% smaller clip. 35% extra self damage. You heal 20 HP on extinguish. You have infinite ammo. And you get 50% extra bullets. Does that mean that if you're shooting a flare, it's just 1.5 flares? I think the secondary is decent. It's fine, but it's not the best. Trust me, certain classes straight up just get buffs with barely noticeable nerfs. Melee. It mini crits versus burning enemies. It extinguishes burning enemies. And it grants speed on kill. No random crits. Can destroy sappers. You get 25 HP on kill. You get 50% extra healing from HP packs. But you have 75% less healing from medic and dispensers. You burn on hits. And I thought, oh, does that mean that he just the Pyro just instantly mini crits? Like, I mean, the sharpened volcano fragment ignites on hit, and the extinguisher gets rid of it while adding a mini crit. So, does that mean that it's just an instant mini crit? No, according to my friend, every other attack would mini crit, which, trust me, I did the math, will change barely anything. You can deal damage to across medi beams. You can go to Pyro Land. You have 100% crits versus wet enemies. You have extra speed on hits, and as well as the slap kill. For those who don't know, the hot hand, it straight up shows in like the kill feed, slap kill. As well as it has a 35% slower switch front speed, a 20% damage vulnerability, 15% extra speed, and the detriment stat. Minus 93% damage on versus players. That is insane. And I did the math. That's about 5 damage per hit. And with the mini crit, because that's 35%, that's about 7 damage. So realistically, this melee is not meant for damage. Against buildings, though, it deals 29% less damage. So it's better against buildings, but yeah, it's just... Let's move on to the defensive classes, shall we? With the Demomon. And I think you'll like his melee. No damage fall off on direct hits for the primary. There is no tumble of the pipes. You get all the advantages of Alibaba's wee booties. You have the base jumper. If you hold fire, you can misfire. Deals knockback on impact. You get to do the double donk, but it doesn't explode on impact. So it can knock back on impact, but it can't explode on impact. 20% extra damage against buildings, 25 extra HP, 30% quicker explosion speed, 45% quicker travel speed, 25% smaller clip, with a 40% smaller explosion radius. I think this is very tame. It sounds, well, in comparison to a lot of these, it just sounds like a TF2 weapon. Sure, it might be a little, it doesn't seem like it's super different. But okay, let's move on to the secondary, shall we? You do not resist against yourself, or all the resist on this thing. You can destroy other stickies. You have a 0.6 second prime time, or extra prime time, I'm not sure. You cannot grab the intelligence. You have the charge. You get passive boosts. We'll cover those in a second. Charging removes debuffs. Melee kills charge. And up to 75%. And let's go on to the statistics. 50% less and smaller clip size. 85% fire resistance with a 65% explosion resistance. That is crazy. You have a firing speed of... You have a 25% faster firing speed. You have 250% extra max ammo. You do not deal any damage with this. You can have up to 8 stickies. You have a 50% charge rate buff and a 70% less max charge. So you'll be charging a lot more often. And then there's the melee, which has 2 stats that I think are really funny. So, kills give heads. Heads, extra shield damage. Except, I guess it's plus 25 extra damage. No random crits, plus 1 capture rate. Kills give 25% charge. So, your kills charge. 0.5 extra charge duration. Hits, your first hit will explode thanks to the caper. You heal on kill half of your max HP. Oh, hold on. You have the honor bound mechanic, and you one-hit KO other demo men because of the Zatoichi's ability of causing it where you kill enemies that are wielding the same weapon, they die. I don't think I saw that on Soldier's page, so I don't know, but yeah. Ammo can charge. Ammo can't in crates. You get 20% extra on hits. I think it's damage on hit. I don't know what 20% extra on hit is. I just have it marked in my notes. But you also have 80% less ammo on primary and secondary, which means that the primary has 80% less max ammo, and the secondary only has 170% extra. Oh no. And, you lose 25 of your HP, you have a 10% bullet vulnerability, you get 20% extra damage, you have 15% less speed while active, you have a 15% damage vulnerability only when active, and you have 20% less attack speed. And here are these two statistics that I thought were kind of funny. You have 250% extra range, and that's extra. So technically you have 350% range. That's long. But you have to pay with the deploy speed, which is minus 475%. That means you're going to be deploying your melee 475% slower. That is just way too slow. To the point where all these other stats are just not great. I don't think it's worth it. Unless you're going specifically, I'm gonna be using this melee and nothing else, then sure, but otherwise, there's literally no way that you're gonna pull this out as like a quick reaction to a scout running up to you with their scatter gun. I need to switch hands. Then there is the heavy weapons guy. His new minigun. Sorry, Heavy, we touched your gun and we're gonna make it better. It fires 4 bullets per ammo. It slows enemies on hit. It has a 40% damage resistance when revved up and under 50% HP. It has a ring of flames while revved. It has a quiet rev, and you lose 4 ammo per second while revved. So, yeah, technically you're using. So, yeah. You deal 15% less damage, but you deal 10% extra damage against burning enemies. You have a 60% slower rev speed, and you have 60% less speed while the weapon is active. You have a 20% extra accuracy, and you have a 20% slower fire speed. I think this minigun sounds pretty good. And the Heavy has a unique trait where it is the only where it is one of the only class. I think it's the only class that can random crits. I think the medic might be able to. I don't remember. But yeah, Heavy just can random crit on any weapon, which is really nice. His secondary can heal 600 HP in 4 seconds. So, with the lunchbox items, I kind of added them up with how much they heal, and I took the lowest amounts for recharge and stuff, kind of trying to make it more powerful. Even though because there was no plus this amount, it was just the info icon, so I had to choose, and I thought I'll just add them up, and with the recharge I just took the lowest amount, which is 10 seconds. If you throw your secondary, it will heal 141%. So that means you can just heal your allies for 840 HP by throwing it on the ground. It has a 10-second recharge, gives 50 overheal. When you activate it, when you eat it, all damage mini crits, 30% quicker move speed, you have a 20% damage vulnerability, and you can only melee. And then there's also the more you fire it, the more it spreads. You have a 33% bigger clip, 15% faster attack speed, 35% less damage, 50% extra pellets, and you have a 50% slower switch to speed. I think this is pretty good. I mean, the healing capabilities can straight up just bring you back into a fight or bring an ally into the fight. And the recharge speed is so quick. Oh, and mind you guys, I took all of the data from the TF2, like Valve's official wiki. So if some of these statistics are wrong, it's technically not my fault, because I'm not as familiar with TF2 as a lot of other people, as of that. Now for the melee, it has a 40% slower attack speed, 30% extra damage, 150% slower switch farm speed, 30% damage vulnerability, 100% to melee vulnerability, a 40% range damage resistance. You have 40% less max overheal, and you get 40% less healing from medics. Yes, we went statistics first, and then the gimmicks. On kill, you get 5 seconds of crits and 50 HP. This is, I'm pretty sure, on melee kill. So you have a 45% extra move speed. You have minus 15 max HP per second when active, with a minimum of 100. 3 seconds of speed boost on hit. Crit makes enemies laugh. You crit from behind, and crits do no damage. So the melee is more just like either you crit them and cause, well, them to laugh, or you just don't really use it. I think heavy just straight up becomes one of the best classes with this, because the minigun is pretty good. The secondary takes the cake and can keep anyone on his team alive, and the melee is not the worst thing in the world, especially with the speed boosts. And now the engineer is Engineer. With 2 crits per sentry kill and 1 crit per sentry assist with a max of 35, of course they're lost on death. No random crits, damage dealt turns into ammo, 10% damage to the same enemy that your sentry is targeting. Your ammo, you use metal as ammo, and you technically have infinite ammo. And this is one of the things that I contacted my friend about. And it's like, technically, because of this, wouldn't that mean that you have infinite metal? And he said no, but come on, wouldn't it be hilarious? Because infinite ammo, and since you're using metal as ammo, infinite metal? Maybe I can weasel my way out of this. Enemies lose 10% of their Uber, and spies lose 20% of their cloak on hit. Thank you, Thompson. You only deal 20% damage to buildings. You can pick up from the distance. Of course, you are marked for death when you pick it up and when you put it back down. You can repair allied buildings on shot. You have a ratio of 4 health per 1 metal repair. And also, the more you shoot, the wider the bullet spread. You have a minus 117% clip, so again, technicality, either you have only 1 bullet in the clip, or you have literally no clip, so just taken from the ammo pool, or you cannot shoot. 50% less max ammo, even though I'm pretty sure the Thompson makes it where you have infinite ammo. I guess I forgot to write. Oh, no, I did write that down. Yeah. 20% less damage, 50% extra pellets, and a 50% slower deploy speed. I think this is actually a really nice supportive thing. I mean, and it also is really good outside of support. And technically, there's infinite metal. Depends on how you slice it. The secondary is a lot shorter. It allows you to wrangle. You lose 5 metal per shot at the secondary. You can't random crit. You cannot pick up buildings. You cannot get crits krieged, and you can shoot the big ball, all for 65 metal. It's really simple. It's essentially just the Wrangler with the short circuit fused together, which I think is fine. I mean, I'm pretty sure there are only like 3 secondaries that the engineer has, so it's fine. It's decent. I mean, you can still wrangle buildings and stuff. With the melee, your sentries turn into mini sentries. You crit on every 3rd attack. You lose random crits. You give bleed on hit. You can teleport to a teleporter exit or back to spawn with the Eureka effect. You lose 20% metal from all sources. So dispensers and ammo boxes give you less metal. 25 extra HP. You have 20% fire vulnerability. You have a minus 20% build speed and a minus 70% repair speed. You have 15% extra attack speed. And you have 20% less damage, or 53% less damage against buildings. I think that the engineer is actually pretty decent. I mean, he loses on a lot of our building stuff. He loses a bit on the wrench, but I think that this is actually pretty decent. I don't know about you guys, but I think that the engineer would actually do decently well in this meta. Unlike a certain soldier. Now we're moving on to the supports. Oh, the supports. They're actually pretty short. So, for the medic, he gets 3 HP on hits with his primary. His regen is 2%. It's 2 HP less per second. Close up, he does 265% damage, and from a distance, he deals 635% damage. And to those who are like, oh, actually it's 280 and 650, yeah, well, there's one of the weapons that takes away 15% of the damage, so. And you can heal enemies 75 HP from close up and 150 HP from far away. Depending on how much Uber percent you have, you are faster with a max of 20% extra movement speed. You have 75% less ammo and a 97.5% smaller clip. Pretty good. It's essentially just the Crusader's crossbow, except you actually heal yourself and you can speed up. The Medigun. So your Uber causes invulnerability and crits and a resistance bubble for 8 seconds. That is insane. Your Uber does triple heal, which I guess if your target is low on HP, you can heal him up really quick. You mirror charges and rocket jumps. I mean, you can't exactly rocket jump, but you can blast jump with the demo. And Medic will kind of mirror it. And you have the 10% resistance bubbles. And then there's another technicality. So two of the miniguns say that you cannot capture the objective due to how their Uber works. But the Crits Krieg and the Bite and the Overdose say that you can. So maybe not the overdose, but essentially 2 mediguns say that you cannot capture the objective, while 2 say that you can. So, can you capture the intelligence and stuff like that while Ubered, or can you not? I need you guys to. So that's one of the technicalities I need to have you guys answer. You have 60% quick and 67% quicker charge. Oh wait, no, 102% quicker charge with 67% against overheal. Oh no, 69% against overheal. I'm misreading my notes. You have 40% extra heal. Well, like effectivity. And you build overheal at 116% less effectively. Now for the melee. You get 25% Uber on hit. You can get organs from enemies and save some of your Uber. You have a taunt that can heal. You gain 3 HP per second. And you can see enemy health. You have a 30% less attack speed. You have 10 less health. And you deal 20% less damage. All in all, I think Medic is really good. Like, it's essentially just the Crusader's crossbow with a good saw and a medigun, and a pretty good medigun. I think meta would do well in this meta. Medic would do well in this meta. Yes, I think the meta will do very well within this meta. Now it's a sniper, mate. Sniper has no random critical rate. His projectile is an arrow. There is no laser sight. Pyros can make it deal burning damage. It loses accuracy. It can give durability on impact from 2 to 5 seconds, depending on charge. You get Nature's Call. You can get either 15. You can get from 15% to 200% to a quicker charge. Just from hits. Your max charge pierces enemies. You can only shoot while zoomed in. There's a team-colored line that follows your projectile. You get quieter shots. There's a focus bar. You can just not zoom in and hold the charge. And you get Gip. Am I going to do that for the entire thing? I don't know. You get 45% slower charge. You have 48% less max ammo. Your movement speed is only 53% while charged. You have 15% extra charge damage. You have 30% less damage from body shots. What about the secondary? You get the Giralta, you get the Razorback. You get it's a Diamond Stain Shield, and you get Curse of Gampa all in one package. You get your Cracker Bar, and you lose random crits. You have a 50% fire resistance and 25% quicker fire speed with 20% smaller clip. Did I say 25% slower? It is 25% slower. And then for the melee. Melical's Blade. Mini crits turn into crits. You'll lose your random crits. Why did I turn Scottish? 25% extra damage when under 58% HP. But you lose 25% less damage when over 50% HP. Minus 50% damage and 20% damage vulnerability. Was that accent bad? I don't know. Because I haven't seen it. I haven't listened to it actually yet because voices change on camera. They sound different on camera. And then there is this spy. The headshot crits. No random crits. You get 15% cloak on hit. You get 20% extra damage when disguised. You ignore resistances and you get a crit for every backstab. You have 50% less damage and you have 20% slower attack speed with 40% extra cloak. Now for the knife. On backstab you have an instant disguise. You overheal. And you get a speed boost, as well as 30% extra cloak on kill. Your knife can melt at any second if attacked by a pyro. But it does give the spice element. The victim no longer screams on death, and disguises require full cloak. You have a 30% quicker cloak drain and a minus 80 HP. Spy mains roll in their graves, dear lord. You have cloak-based movements, but you can only activate it with the Dead Ringer. You have 100% cloak recharge and 35% less cloak from ammo boxes. And your sapper is just the red tape recorder. So, do I think Spy is good? I mean, yeah. Even though he has only 65 HP, he can still heal a ton and disguise and just get out of there. So that was my hypothetical. Maybe Great Blue will make a video when it copy me, and then I'll be like, haha, I actually made that video a year ago. You're copying me. I don't think I'd actually do that. I like his videos, okay? I don't want to be that type of guy who's like, oh, but you, sir, stole my video. No, I don't. Well, maybe. As long as you're doing your own cool twist on it, like, just my video, but better, then sure. I honestly would love it if someone were to make a, community server or something, where you can play like this, with all of these, rules and stuff. But remember the technicalities, right? Like, if you're Ubered, can you capture the intelligence stuff? I think you guys can, answer in the comments about the technicalities that I asked you. It's been your old friend, George, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.